Hi, Ana Sofia. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Hi, Alex. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. And to get started, can you give the audience a little bit of background in your history on UX?
Yes, of course. I've been in the UX industry for over 10 years. I've been at Microsoft for five of those 10 years. And before that, I was in a consultancy in Denver, and then I worked in Mexico doing my own freelancing. And so it's been a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Microsoft's a huge company, obviously one that's very focused on design. Which parts of Microsoft have you had the pleasure of designing with?
So the cool thing about like Microsoft, and I imagine any big corporation, every new team is like its own different company. So I started in Groove, which is a music app. And
Mhm.
then from there, I moved into mixed reality, which I designed applications, enterprise applications for the HoloLens. And
Oh,
then
wow.
from there, I went to the CRM, designing the customer relationship management tool that Microsoft has called Dynamics for Sales. And then from that, then and now I'm in process insights, which is a capability of process mining.
Well, I gotta ask, what is process mining?
Yeah, so process mining is an AI, like machine learning tool, where we can identify a process based on all of the data you give us. So you give us the data and we'll tell you, you go from A to B and from B to C, and this is where you take the longest. So maybe you can optimize or automate your process. So it can unblock a lot of the digital transformation
Mhm.
for new companies. And so it's the new emerging tech that Gartner is really rooting for. And it's pretty cool because I love to work with emerging tech.
Yeah.
Also, when I was in mixed reality, it was emerging, and it's really cool challenges. And also, there's no really definition. So you get to define for the industry too. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think it's also intimidating for a lot of designers to walk into a space of AI ML when there's so much technical knowledge potentially needed. How do you recommend designers going into emerging tech learn about such a niche area?
Yeah, so it's very funny enough. I actually didn't study like human computer interaction. I studied industrial design. So coming into the field, I had to really learn on the job the technical skills, but I was never really into the technical. So, but I always land on technical jobs. And so I think that's like my superpower because I can tell people like, hey, this is if I can't understand it, and I'm in like the best company in the world. So it means that I'm like top percent of technical,
Mhm.
then how will our users understand it, right? So I think by leveraging that I'm not technical, I can speak for the users.
Yeah,
And even though it's intimidating, I just ask questions, like continue asking the why and how it works. And it's totally okay because people love to work or talk about their work. So it
yeah.
means the data scientists, when I continue to ask why or how it works, they'll talk for an hour explaining it to me.
Okay.
So it's just like that collaborative space. Just keep asking questions and you'll get it. And it's okay if you don't, because then it means that there's a gap that the users will like run into as well.
Anna Sophia, so you mentioned designing for emerging economies like Mexico. How does that compare and contrast? What are some of those big considerations that maybe people who aren't on the ground there or don't know the culture are missing?
Yeah, of course, there's this website called Half Sales Dimensions that I use. And it's so cool because it tells you like the five different cultures in every country. But and so where I discovered is that in Mexico, we're community focused. So we're not individualist like in the
Yeah,
US.
yeah.
In Mexico, we're more about the we, so community. And then the other thing is also that we're very around hierarchy. So we believe in Mexico that if you have a certain title, it's
Mm,
because you have much more knowledge than me, right? Or if you own a company, it's because you are this being that has a different IQ than me. And so you don't question hierarchy. And that's
yeah,
actually something that I really like in the US and in Microsoft, that I see like I can question the principal level or director, and it's like, hey, why did you did it like this? In Mexico, that really doesn't happen often. So with financial applications like the mortgages, they would get scared
Mhm.
with the big terms, and they wouldn't research around the big terms, and they couldn't understand the big terms. So that's what the huge drop off that we had. So it was, how can we change it into conversational with terms they will understand?
Let's talk about HoloLens. Where is that all heading? I mean, we hear about metaverse and design changing.
It was super cool just to see like how we were developing it. So the product we were building was for VR and
Mm,
HoloLens. So
yeah.
we had to think in both modes. HoloLens is AR, so what capabilities can you give in AR? But then how, and it's a lot about like the mobile versus desktop. How do you have some functionalities in desktop versus some in mobile, right? Same thing, AR versus VR. How can you empower more in VR versus like AR that you need to be focused on the real world?
Hmm.
So it was a lot of those considerations. And what I've been seeing at least is that we shifted from consumer to enterprise. And
Yeah.
right now, I think they're trying to do a little bit more of consumer, but I just feel like a lot of companies are seeing the value. Like it is going to explode. Like you see, Facebook is investing so much in Oculus,
Hmm.
and then there's rumors about Apple. So I do feel like there's going to be not like this year, next year, like maybe 5 years, the technology will get better. And there's when people will start adopting it. Just see people already buying the Oculus.
Ana Sofia, what type of advice would you have to junior or emerging designers entering the field today?
I just ask questions. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people don't think like they shouldn't ask questions because then they'll seem like they don't know. And that's not true. Like, actually, you look like you're not curious and you don't want to participate in yeah. So it actually can be counterintuitive. So just ask questions. Everybody is willing to help. Like, and if it's not, it's gonna be 1 out of 5 people that you ask for help. So it's just like you never know who will be there helping hand and want to tell you about the emerging technologies or want to help you. I feel it very rewarding to helping others. So I do a lot of mentorship and it gives me energy. And I know like my manager knows that like I have to give like 10 to 20% of my time to D&I work and mentorship. If not, like I will deliver my best because that's what fills me up helping others. And so it's a lot of people there like me, and so they just want to help others,
Yeah.
and it's just like asking questions and practicing skills and not be afraid to fail because there's no perfect answer. Like you can have a model with a title on the right and the left, and then who knows which one's the right one, right? It's just users testing users, so there's usually not the perfect answer.
Yeah, I mean, that's great advice. Asking questions is core to creating great user experiences. Hopefully you're asking your users how everything's going, and for feedback. Thanks so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.